You're carrying a weight that doesn't belong to you, not in your hands, but in your mind. Every insult you've replayed 100 times, every moment someone disrespected you, every argument you wish had ended differently, every disappointment you refuse to let go of. Without realizing it, you've been collecting these memories like heavy stones, carrying them everywhere you go. The strange part is that most people believe this is normal. They think being easily offended means they care deeply. They assume anger is simply part of their personality. They blame difficult people, unfair situations, or bad luck for the chaos they feel inside. But what if that's not the real problem? What if the people who upset you aren't actually controlling your emotions? What if you've been handing over your peace, one reaction at a time? Think about the last time someone annoyed you. Maybe it was a rude stranger, a disrespectful coworker, a family member who knew exactly which buttons to push. The moment passed for them within minutes. But for you, it stayed alive. Hours later, you were still replaying the conversation, still imagining better responses, still feeling that knot in your chest while the other person had already forgotten the entire incident. Doesn't that seem unfair? Someone else creates the moment, but you carry the burden. This cycle repeats itself every day. Different people, different situations, the same emotional trap. You promise yourself you'll stay calm next time. Yet when the next challenge arrives, you react exactly as before. Why? Because nobody ever taught you how to protect your inner peace. The ancient Stoics understood something that most people never discover. Real strength isn't about controlling difficult people, that it's about refusing to let difficult people control you. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire filled with conflict, betrayal, and constant pressure. Epictetus lived as a slave before becoming one of history's greatest philosophers. Seneca faced political exile, criticism, and uncertainty throughout his life. None of them escaped hardship. They simply learned something more valuable than comfort. They mastered themselves. That's exactly what you'll learn today. These 6 Stoic habits aren't motivational tricks or temporary mindset hacks. They are practical principles that have helped people remain calm under pressure for more than 2,000 years. When you begin practicing them consistently, something remarkable happens. You stop reacting to everything. You stop carrying unnecessary anger. You stop giving strangers permission to ruin your day. Instead, you become steady, calm, unshakable. Before we begin, take a moment and write these words in the comments. I choose peace over reaction. It's more than a comment, it's a commitment to stop letting other people decide how you feel. Now, let's begin with the first habit. The first habit is simple to understand, but incredibly powerful to practice. Nothing has power over you until you decide it does. Most people believe events create emotions. Someone criticizes them, so they become angry. Someone ignores them, so they feel rejected. Someone cuts them off in traffic, so their entire day is ruined. But look closely. The event happened in only a few seconds. The suffering continued because of the meaning they attached to it. The Stoics believed that events themselves are neutral, that it's our interpretation that gives them emotional weight. Imagine someone speaks to you in a harsh tone. Immediately your mind begins creating a story. They don't respect me. They're trying to embarrass me. They think I'm weak. But what if none of that is true? What if they're simply having a terrible day? What if they're stressed? What if their behavior has absolutely nothing to do with you? The reality is, you don't know. Yet your mind fills in the blanks and treats those assumptions as facts. That's where unnecessary suffering begins. Epictetus taught that it isn't what happens to us that disturbs us. It's the opinions we form about what happens. That single idea can change your life. The next time someone says something that normally upsets you, don't react immediately. Instead, ask yourself, what story am I telling myself right now? You'll often discover that you're reacting to your assumptions rather than reality. The moment you separate facts from interpretation, you take back your power. Suddenly, insults become less personal. Criticism becomes easier to evaluate. Difficult people lose much of their influence over your emotions. The world hasn't changed, but your relationship with it has. And that's where real freedom begins. The second habit is what turns knowledge into self-control. Create a pause before every reaction. Most people don't choose their responses. They simply react. Someone raises their voice. They raise theirs. Someone insults them. They instantly fire back. Someone disappoints them. Their emotions take complete control. That it's almost automatic, like pressing a button. But here's what separates emotionally strong people from everyone else. They don't eliminate emotions. They create space before acting on them. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that while he couldn't control what happened around him, he could always control how he responded. That power exists inside a single moment. The pause. Think about anger like a spark that if you react immediately, that tiny spark becomes a wildfire. But if you pause, if you take one slow breath, If you remain silent for just a few seconds, the fire often dies before it ever begins. That you'll be surprised how many arguments disappear simply because you didn't rush to respond. The next time you feel yourself becoming angry, try something simple. Take 3 slow breaths. Relax your shoulders. Ask yourself, will this reaction improve my life tomorrow? Most of the time, the answer is no, and that realization gives you the freedom to choose something better. A calm response, a thoughtful response, or sometimes no response at all, because not every opinion deserves your attention, not every insult deserves your energy, and not every battle deserves to be fought. Every time you choose patience instead of impulse, you're strengthening your mind. Every time you remain calm while others lose control, you're becoming the kind of person nothing can easily shake. The third habit is where your life begins to change in a visible way. Up until now, you've learned that your interpretation shapes your emotions, and that a simple pause can stop anger before it takes control. But neither of those habits can fully work unless you understand one life-changing principle. Not everything deserves your energy. Most people spend their lives trying to control things that were never theirs to control. They try to control other people's opinions. They try to control whether everyone respects them. They try to control the future, avoid every mistake, and make life unfold exactly as they planned. When reality refuses to cooperate, they become frustrated, not because life is unfair, but because they're fighting battles they were never meant to win. Epictetus built his entire philosophy around one simple truth. Some things belong to you, others never will. Your attitude, your choices, your effort, your discipline, your honesty, these are yours. But another person's behavior, their opinions, the economy, the past, tomorrow, none of these belong to you. Yet these are exactly the things that consume most people's thoughts. Imagine carrying 2 backpacks. Point 1 contains responsibilities that are actually yours, your actions, your habits, your character. The other is filled with other people's expectations, unpredictable events, and outcomes you cannot control. Every morning, you choose which backpack to carry. Most people pick up both. By midday, they're mentally exhausted, not because life is too difficult, but because they're carrying weight that was never theirs. The Stoics teach us to put down the second backpack. Focus completely on what depends on you. When someone speaks badly about you, ask yourself, can I control their opinion? No. Can I control how I respond? Absolutely. When a plan falls apart, don't waste hours asking why it happened. Instead ask, what's the best action I can take right now? That single question immediately shifts your attention from frustration to progress. Marcus Aurelius faced wars, political betrayal, and constant uncertainty. Yet instead of complaining about events beyond his control, he focused on becoming wiser, calmer, and more disciplined every single day. That's why his mind remained stronger than his circumstances. Imagine how much lighter your life would feel if you stopped trying to control everyone else. How much peace would return if you stopped demanding that life always go your way. The moment you focus on what you can actually influence, you stop feeling powerless, because your power has been there all along. It was simply buried beneath unnecessary worry. The fourth habit may sound unusual at first, but once you understand it, you'll never look at problems the same way again. Prepare your mind before life tests it. Most anger comes from one thing: unexpected disappointment. Someone behaves differently than you expected. Plans suddenly change. A problem appears out of nowhere because your mind wasn't prepared. The emotional reaction feels overwhelming. The Stoics solved this in a fascinating way. Instead of pretending every day would be perfect, they quietly reminded themselves that challenges were inevitable. Marcus Aurelius often began his mornings by saying that he would probably meet difficult, selfish, impatient, or dishonest people during the day. Not because he was negative, because he was realistic. When those people finally appeared, he wasn't shocked, he was prepared. Think about a professional athlete. They don't wait until the championship game to experience pressure. They train under pressure long before the competition begins. That's exactly what this Stoic habit does. It trained your mind before life tests it. Imagine waking up tomorrow and saying, today, someone may misunderstand me. Something might not go according to plan. I may face delays, criticism, or disappointment. You're not wishing for these things, you're simply accepting that they're part of life. Now imagine one of those situations actually happens. Instead of thinking, why is this happening to me? You smile quietly and think, I knew something like this could happen. Notice what changes. The problem is the same, but your emotional reaction is completely different. Preparation removes surprise, and without surprise, most frustration disappears. This habit also creates something incredibly valuable: gratitude. When you occasionally imagine life without the people, opportunities, and blessings you currently have, you stop taking them for granted. You appreciate ordinary moments. You become thankful for simple things that once went unnoticed. A peaceful morning, good health, a conversation with someone you love, the ability to wake up and begin again. Suddenly, life doesn't feel like something you deserve. It feels like something you're fortunate to experience. And grateful people are much harder to provoke because their attention stays focused on what they have instead of everything they think they're missing. These first 4 habits are already transforming the way you see the world. You're no longer reacting automatically. You're choosing your perspective, protecting your energy, preparing your mind, and slowly becoming the kind of person who remains calm while everyone else loses control. But the final 2 habits take this transformation even deeper. The 5th habit changes the way you see every problem you face. When something goes wrong, it often feels enormous. A single argument can ruin your entire day. 1 mistake can convince you that you failed. 1 negative comment can make you forget 100 compliments. Why? Because when you're standing too close to a problem, it's all you can see. The Stoics understood that sometimes the answer isn't to fight harder, that it's to step back. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to look at life from a much higher perspective. He imagined how small his worries would appear if he could see the world from above. The empire he ruled, the people who criticized him, the problems that demanded his attention, they all became tiny when compared to the vastness of time. That simple shift changed everything. Think about a problem that once kept you awake at night. At the time, it probably felt like the end of the world. Yet today, it's just another memory. The same thing will happen with most of the things you're worrying about right now. Ask yourself, will this matter a year from now? Most of the time, the answer is no. Then ask yourself another question. Is this problem really as big as it feels? Or am I simply standing too close to it? Distance creates clarity. When you zoom out, you begin to realize that many of the things stealing your peace are temporary moments, not permanent realities. Someone's rude comment, a disappointing meeting, a bad day. None of these define your life. They're only chapters, not the entire story. The next time anger begins to rise, don't immediately react. Pause. Mentally step back. Imagine looking at this moment from years in the future. Chances are, you'll barely remember it. And if your future self won't lose sleep over it, why should your present self? Perspective has a remarkable way of shrinking problems that once seemed impossible. The bigger your perspective becomes, the smaller your anger feels. The 6th and final habit is perhaps the most overlooked of all. Protect your peace by choosing where your energy goes. Not every conversation deserves your attention. Not every argument deserves your response. Not every person deserves unlimited access to your mind. Many people believe they must respond to every criticism, defend every opinion, win every debate. But the Stoics knew something different. Sometimes the strongest response is silence. Sometimes the wisest decision is walking away. Seneca advised people to spend time with those who inspire growth rather than those who constantly create conflict. Think about the people in your own life. Who leaves you feeling calm after every conversation? Who motivates you to become a better person? Now think about the opposite. Who constantly brings drama? Who drains your energy? Who leaves you emotionally exhausted every time you interact? You cannot always choose everyone around you, but you can choose how much access they have to your peace. Creating healthy boundaries isn't selfish, that it's necessary. Even more importantly, learn to spend time alone, not because you're avoiding people, but because solitude allows your mind to recover. In silence, your thoughts become clearer, your emotions settle, your priorities return. The strongest people aren't afraid of being alone. They use solitude to become stronger before returning to the world. Protecting your peace doesn't mean hiding from life. It means refusing to waste your energy where it has no purpose. And that's what true strength looks like. Not constant fighting, not constant proving, but quiet confidence. The confidence to know that your peace is too valuable to hand over to every difficult person you meet. Now think back to where this journey began. You believed other people had the power to steal your peace. Now you know the truth. Peace isn't something that people take from you. It's something you choose to protect. These 6 Stoic habits aren't complicated, they're daily choices. Choose your interpretation instead of your impulse. Pause before reacting. Focus on what you can control. Prepare your mind for life's challenges. See every problem from a higher perspective and protect your inner peace with wisdom. Practice these habits long enough, and something incredible happens. The situations around you may stay the same. Difficult people will still exist. Unexpected problems will still appear. Life will continue testing you. But you won't be the same person facing those tests. You'll be calmer, stronger, more patient, More difficult to provoke. That's what it truly means to become unshakable. Not because life became easier, but because you finally mastered yourself. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another lesson on Stoicism, self-mastery, and inner strength. Until next time.